night in a community-wide vigil planned for just 1 hour from now.
It will begin at 5 o'clock. It'll be a 1 hour vigil from 5 to 6 tonight, and I want you to take a look at this amazing venue. Of course, the connection to Louisville and Muhammad Ali, who became a peacemaker later in life. We have learned that the families of the victims will be here. They are going to be sitting just to the left of the Louisville mayor in an area where you see many chairs set up. But we've also learned that this will be a vigil for the victims' families of two shootings. The mass shooting that happened on Monday, and then the one 2 hours later at 8th and Chestnut, where two people were shot and one young man was killed. That is going to come up at 5 o'clock tonight as we are bringing you our special coverage.
We thank you so much for joining us. This is a special edition of WHAS 11 News at 4, live from the Muhammad Ali Center. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Doug Proffitt here on this sun-splashed day. It is very warm, and this venue is close, it is tight, it is personal, and I would expect there are probably going to be thousands of people here. We are less than 1 mile from the old National Bank location in downtown Louisville. Again, the community is welcome here to this vigil, which begins at 5 o'clock. It is going to be a night of healing and remembrance. As you know, 5 people were killed during the workplace mass shooting on Monday morning. 8 others were injured in that chaos, including 3 police officers. We'll be remembering and honoring Louisville Metro Police here tonight. 3 people are still in the hospital. LMPD officer Nicholas Wilt, who was shot in the head, is still in critical condition.
This vigil will be to acknowledge the wounds, physical and emotional, that gun violence leaves behind. It will be an interfaith opportunity for our entire community to come together, to grieve, to heal, to begin to move forward.
The vigil again begins at 5 tonight.
And we are bringing you team coverage of this tonight. We have reporters Isaiah Kim Martinez and Tom Lally here at the Muhammad Ali Center with us. Plus, we will be showing you this vigil live starting at 5 o'clock, commercial free, right here on WHAS 11.
They are going to have 11 speakers, but they have added some additional speakers, including, we've just learned that Jim Ryan, the president of Old National Bank, will be speaking here. It will be the first time we have heard from him in person since the massacre in downtown Louisville. Joining us live here, we want to bring in the new CEO of the Ali Center, the first woman to run the Muhammad Ali Center, Marilyn Jackson, as this great center gets ready to celebrate 20 years in 2025. Marilyn, tell us who the invited guests will be here today, who will be honored.
Well, the vigil is for the shooting victims, for the victims of the 2 shootings that happened on Monday, and the entire community is invited. We have a long list of speakers that the city has put together that includes the governor, Governor Beshear, that includes the mayor, that includes faith leaders. We will find out when they come who's exactly coming this afternoon.
Muhammad Ali Center, such a perfect place for the community to come together. What does it mean to you to have this be the home of tonight's ceremony?
It means tremendous that the city thinks that this is the place where we should come together to collectively grieve what's happened and to reunite. I know that when Muhammad and Lonnie built the center, this is exactly what they wanted it to be, a place for inspiration, but also a place for reflection and for coming together, building dialogue, building bridges. And I'm really honored that the mayor reached out to us and asked if he could have it here.
Marilyn, when you walk in the Muhammad Ali Center, you see the 6 core principles. I was just in there, and they are, I wrote them down: confidence, conviction, dedication, respect, giving, and spirituality. How many people can this venue hold? You've had vigils here before in the past.
My understanding, so as you know, I'm new, my understanding is that we've had vigils as large as 7,000 people, and so this whole plaza gets taken over. People are standing out past here, over onto the Belvedere, and even under the pedway to listen. We have speakers, and they'll be able to hear everything that goes on, even if they can't see it.
For those who are going to be watching from home, what is your hope that they walk away with tonight, if you could just put it into words?
I think, I hope that they walk away with a sense of community, a sense that regardless of where you live in the city, who you are, that, the impact of this event in the city is tremendous, and that they have people to turn to and shoulder the pain with. I know our staff, the shootings took place just a mile from, not even a mile, like 6 blocks from here, and that Monday our staff was really, really impacted, and I made the decision to send them home so that they could have some time to process what happened. And many of us knew the people who we've lost.
This day reminds me of the week that Muhammad Ali died in 2016, that amazing, beautiful day, clear skies, where 100,000 people in this city came together, joining hands. This community has changed a lot since 2016. We are trying to come together again. Is that what you hope this begins the process for by 6 o'clock when this ends tonight?
Absolutely. And this in my first year here at the center, one of the things we did was we launched a new strategic plan, and community engagement is one of the tenets of the new strategic plan. So I always want the center, I know Lonnie and our board as well, wants the center to be a place for the community for a variety of things, and so I hope that the community's seen that the center is much more open, and that it's a place where they can come to discuss issues. We've had the Parks Alliance here that we're partnering with this year. We've done a dyslexia training for teachers. Lots of new things are going on at the center, and I think it's really important to Muhammad and Lonnie that the center be a community gathering space.
Marilyn Jackson, thank you so much. Good luck to you,
Thank you.
Here today, and thank you for putting on this wonderful community. This is our sanctuary today. This is where Louisville's coming together in its church.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to see a big crowd in about an hour.
Well, thank you for covering this. It will be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
We do want to go down the list of speakers for you. Again, there have been some late additions there, Shay.
We know that this is a wide range, too. We're talking politicians, faith leaders, even just community leaders, everyone who has an impact here. Here's the full list. So we have Deputy Mayor Barbara Sexton-Smith, a former council member, LMPD Chaplain Dr. Teresa O'Bannon, Mayor Craig Greenberg, Governor Andy Beshear, Congressman Morgan McGarvey.
That's right, and they have now moved the list of speakers. We do want to let you know this is an interfaith service. Mohammed Babar will be speaking right after Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and he is president of the Muslim Americans for Compassion. He will be speaking at 5:16. Again, as we just told you, Jim Ryan, the president of Old National Bank is based in Evansville, will be speaking at 5:20. Congressman Morgan McGarvey, of course, the Louisville native. Archbishop Sheldon Faub, who's the Archbishop of Louisville since March of 2022. Kentucky State Senator Gerald Neal, now serving 34 years in the Kentucky Senate, the longest serving African American member in the Senate, and he's going to be joining us live at 4:30 to talk about what he hopes to tell the crowd. Also, Rabbi Beth Jackowitz Chotner, she's the second full-time rabbi to lead the Temple Shalom on US 42. Metro Council President Marcus Winkler. Whitney Austin, the Louisville native and mass shooting survivor, will also be speaking. She was the mass shooting survivor from Fifth Third Bank in Cincinnati. And then J. Herbert Nelson has been added. He is the stated clerk with Presbyterian USA. And they will end with Amazing Grace here in the plaza of Muhammad Ali, a man who showed so much grace in his later years in life after, a year in a very violent sport, and then turned into becoming a peacemaker until he died.
Certainly a perfect place for tonight's ceremony. So now we do want to check in. Like we said, we have two crews here. They are focused not only on the speakers, but also the community that's coming here to mourn tonight.
WHS 11's Tom Lally is down in the venue where he will be talking to people a little later on. Again, as this vigil begins at 5. By the way, we want to let you know you will see it commercial-free here on WHS 11. Tom?
Yeah, Doug, we're here by the bridge where people can cross over from the Belvedere, and we haven't had a lot of guests or attendants come yet, but you can see film crews, camera crews, security, and then we actually got to talk with one group that drove up from Willisburg, Kentucky. They're with Canines for Christ, a group that brings therapy dogs across the country where they're needed. They have 2 dogs so far. They're bringing more to be here and help support. I talked to one of the organizers with them. She says they've been watching this all happen from afar on the news, and when they were invited by Metro government to come bring their dogs and support in a way that they could, they took the offer. They got here a little earlier today and are excited to lend a hand how they can. It's a little hot. The dogs are panting a little bit, so they'll have to cool off, but it'll be a welcome resource here, in addition to those speakers, those interfaith groups, to have the animals that folks can interact with and pet and try and get over some of the grief that Louisville's experiencing. Like I said, we're going to be here by the Belvedere, talking to people as they come in about why they're here, how they're doing, and basically just checking in ahead of this event tonight at 5. Live in Louisville at the Muhammad Ali Center with photojournalist Ian Hardwitt, Tom Lally, WHAS 11 on your side.
Okay, Tom, and as we've learned, the families of the victims have been invited. They will be here. They will be sitting just off to the side of the mayor, where the Muhammad Ali Center is accommodating them. I'd say several rows of seats there are set up right now. And of course, tonight, the focus is going to be on them and the 5 people who did not make it out of that bank early Monday morning, the survivors as well, and the Metro Police Department, the incredible bravery of our police department, including Officer Nicholas Wilt, who is still recovering in the hospital after brain surgery.
And we are going to have an update on all of the people that are still in the hospital right now. We have a crew at U of L Hospital, but first, we want to talk a little bit more about the victims, the 5 people who went to work on Monday morning and didn't make it home. 5 crosses now in front of Old National Bank on Main Street. Symbols of the 5 people who went to work in downtown Louisville on Monday and never made it home. Joshua Barrick, a 40-year-old senior vice president and loving father. He leaves behind 2 small children, his wife, and his family in faith.
I had a lot of friends, just a lovely, lovely man.
64-year-old Jim Tutt, a Frankfurt native and UK grad, is remembered as a brilliant banking exec with a long history in the industry.
He was definitely one of those people that stood out, as he was always just the smartest guy in the room. He was a financial genius.
Tommy Elliott, a 63-year-old senior vice president at the bank. He leaves behind his wife, 2 daughters, and 2 stepdaughters. He was considered a mentor to many across the state, including Governor Andy Beshear.
Tommy Elliott helped me build my law career, helped me become governor, gave me advice on being a good dad.
45-year-old Juliana Farmer, a commercial banking agent, just moved to Louisville for this job a few weeks ago. Her family described the loving mother and grandmother as ambitious and supportive. And Dina Eckert, at 57 years old, she was an executive administrative officer at Old National Bank, known as a friend to many of her coworkers, her loved ones remembering her as the rock of their family, the protector, a loving mother to 2 children, and a supportive wife.
She never, ever had anything bad to say about anybody. So to see this happen to her and her being taken from us, it's just not fair.
They are mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and friends, now missing pieces of our community who will never be forgotten. And we do know right now all 5 of those families are working on funeral services. We actually learned today that the first of these services will be tomorrow. Here's a look at the details. Tommy Elliott will be remembered by friends and family on Friday at the Broadway Baptist Church on Brownsboro Road. That starts at 3 o'clock. Visitation will be tomorrow, the 13th, at Pearson's Funeral Home. That's on Breckenridge Lane. That is from 2 until 7.
In their own words, friends described Elliott in his obituary as a forward thinker, dedicated to making our community a better place to live and thrive for so many years. His family saying his love of language was clearly acts of service, always taking care of things before they even knew what was needed. He was the senior vice president at Old National Bank. His career, though, started 42 years ago, right after graduating from college. He was a graduate of the University of Kentucky.
When we come back in just a few minutes, an update on the victims still being treated at U of L Hospital.
And specifically what we know about the condition of the officer. Again, the 5 p.m. vigil will begin here, and we will hear from 13 speakers. It's an interfaith service with music and a lot of heartfelt thoughts about the victims of the Louisville massacre.
The First Alert Storm Team forecast on WHAS 11 News is sponsored by West Shore Home and Elite Heating and Air Conditioning. Understaffed and overworked public defenders.
We have anywhere from 240 to 300 cases.
Focus investigates the link to violent crime, the cost to the community.
That bar the Constitution, is it being upheld here?
Thursday on WHAS 11 News at 6. The new and improved WHAS 11 Plus, now on Roku and Fire TV. Watch local newscasts live or on your schedule and see local programs and specials. The new and improved WHAS 11 Plus, now on Roku and Fire TV.
At Rally's, I'm in the driver's seat. Give me that $5 meal deal with a Rally burger. Nah, a mushroom Swiss burger, plus fries, chicken bites, and a drink for just $5. Or why not go big? I want a fried mushroom Buford. Whatever you order, own it at Rally's.
Sadly, 1 out of 20 nursing home residents are abused or neglected. If you suspect that your loved one has been abused or injured, call the dedicated Hughes & Coleman Nursing Home Legal Team. Hughes & Coleman, 800-800-4600.
A conservative fighter, Daniel Cameron.
Daniel Cameron conservative? Ask Daniel Cameron.
We want to move to a no money bail system, no money bail system.
Sound familiar?
I've laid this out in a detailed memo about not having cash bail.
Cameron agrees with the George Soros-backed DA who prosecuted Trump. That's not conservative. Our governor must never be career politician Daniel Cameron, Kentucky's soft-on-crime teddy bear.
A warm DQ biscuit? A sizzling Purnell sausage patty? Oh, this sausage biscuit sandwich is the ultimate breakfast. A warm DQ biscuit? A sizzling Purnell sausage patty? Oh, this sausage biscuit sandwich is the ultimate breakfast. Oh, whoa, deja vu. Oh, wait, you get both? Deja biscuits. Stop by today to get the DQ sausage biscuit twin pack. DQ, happy tastes good.
You must follow the law. To come to court every single day at 1 o'clock just doesn't work that way. The law is clear.
He'll fight for you with no filter. Want more cash when you get in a crash? TheCarCrashGuy.com.
Sadly, 1 out of 20 nursing home residents are abused or neglected. If you suspect that your loved one has been abused or injured, call the dedicated Hughes & Coleman Nursing Home Legal Team. Hughes & Coleman, 800-800-4600.
Community members are starting to arrive here at the Muhammad Ali Center tonight. You are now looking at the podium where leaders, politicians, faith leaders are all going to be speaking in response to Monday's horrific events.
Just to the left of the podium, and that's where 13 speakers will be giving their thoughts beginning at 5 o'clock tonight. The victims' families, survivors, connections will all be here from 2 shootings we've learned, not only the mass shooting, but the one that happened at 8th and Chestnut 2 hours later. Family members of those victims will also be here honored today. That is coming up at 5. Again, you will see its entirety here on WHAS 11 from the Muhammad Ali Center. Well, the staff at U of L has been working around the clock to save the lives of the victims in Monday's mass shooting and to start their recovery. But as we all know, Louisville's gun problem certainly runs so much deeper than this tragedy, and it has now for years. And the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jason Smith, you may have seen him yesterday and what he said. He caught the nation's attention with what he said, Shay. It was powerful.
He said that what happened on Monday, treating 5 gunshot wound victims at the same time, was not unusual for Louisville's trauma center. It was disturbing to hear, but it is the truth. WHAS 11's Bobby McSwine spoke to him about that today.
U of L Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jason Smith says his best and worst days have been in the operating room. He's proud and happy to save lives, but he wants to see real change when it comes to dealing with Louisville's gun problem.
I got calls from Los Angeles, Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis, Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, you name it. You know, we are not special, and the fact that gun violence is impacting our cities.
Calls from EMS personnel pouring in from across the country after a passionate plea from Smith during a press conference one day after the mass shooting that left 5 people dead.
There's only so many times you can walk into a room and tell someone they're not coming home tomorrow. To everyone who helps make policy, both at state, city, federal, I would simply ask you to do something. Because doing nothing, which is what we've been doing, is not working.
He says, sadly, performing surgeries for 3 gunshot wound victims in one day didn't even require a change to their operating room schedule.
If we don't start speaking out about what we're seeing, there's no other way to let the public know what is happening within the trauma centers and the emergency departments around this country.
Monday's mass shooting sent 9 victims to the hospital. 5 have been released. 2 are in fair condition. Officer Nicholas Wilt, the 26-year-old rookie officer who ran toward Old National Bank, remains in critical condition after being shot in the head. 57-year-old Dina Eckert died at U of L.
We focus on our failures, and it may or may not be a failure, but it feels like that when you lose someone. And from our standpoint, what we have to do is focus on the people we were able to save, and there were a lot of them.
And Dr. Smith is weary after 15 years of hoping for changes that might be able to save people from even having to step into the emergency room. In Louisville, Bobby McSwine, WHAS 11 on your side.
Some of the speakers are already arriving here. You see Louisville's new Archbishop, Shelton Fobb. He will be speaking to the crowd here. Of course, one of the victims went to Holy Trinity Church
right there in St. Matthews.
And the Archbishop will be talking about his life and his young man, 40 years old, Joshua Barrett, and his giving back to the community for so many years. And Shay, on this day, I've already noticed there are, the Ali Center is surrounded by condominiums downtown. People have been out on their balconies. They're waiting for this vigil to start.
We know there's going to be thousands here in just a few minutes, and the weather is absolutely perfect for it, with sunshine, blue skies. Alden, it's a good day for this.
It is, Shay. Thank you. It's a very somber day, of course, but thankfully the weather is cooperating for that vigil out there. Here's a quick check of that forecast for you. We do have summer-like temperatures for coming our way for tomorrow, and it is going to be a very nice evening outside. We only have some minor rain chances, and that first round of rain is currently down to our south. It's still churning off of the Gulf of Mexico near New Orleans. It's not in any hurry to get anywhere, but it will slowly be lifting north through tomorrow, and that is expected to bring us some showers as we head into our Friday afternoon in particular. So as we look at Futurecast, waking up tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the 40s for most of us. I think we'll see a little bit more cloud cover as we head into the afternoon, but still going to be fairly warm. With the south breeze, our temperatures will easily be able to crack 80 degrees here in the metro. We're near 80 right now. I think we'll be as much as almost 5 degrees warmer for tomorrow afternoon. Here's Thursday evening rather. We see those clouds increasing and some of those light showers beginning to lift northward. It's not going to be a widespread rain. That heaviest rain, and even then it's not going to be too heavy, will be south of the river. So southern Kentucky in particular has a better chance of seeing any precipitation. Some more showers will be possible as we head into our late Friday evening. Most of Saturday has been trending drier now as we take a look at our long range at Futurecast, but we are still going to be watching for a line of thunderstorms to be approaching out of the west as we head into our Friday afternoon and evening. So some rumbles of thunder not out of the realm of question, but as of right now, this is largely going to be an overnight event with a very slow-moving cold front pushing through as well. So we could have some rumbles of thunder Sunday morning, but as of right now, that severe weather chance looks relatively low. Heavier rain will be more likely to the east of I-65 heading into Sunday afternoon, and then we'll have some much cooler air moving in on the backside of this system. Here's your hometown forecast for tomorrow. Feeling a bit more like June, honestly, with those temperatures in the lower 80s across the region. Light winds out of the south. Air quality might be a little bit of a problem tomorrow as well. Here's a 7-day forecast. 76 on a Friday, around 80 degrees on a Saturday. I've lowered those rain chances on Saturday to 30% and increased them on Sunday, which will be much cooler, only in the lower 60s. We'll notice wind picking up again beginning on Saturday and Sunday, so another breezy weekend is coming.
All right, Alden, thank you very much. Well, the officer's quick response is seeing praise from across our city and across the country tonight.
Coming up here from the Muhammad Ali Center, we're going to be speaking with a law enforcement expert about what these officers did so right on Monday morning. We are live at the community-wide vigil here at the Muhammad Ali Center. The vigil beginning at 5 p.m. with 13 speakers.
Understaffed public defenders, the cost to the community, Thursday at 6.
Insurance companies have a favorite kind of accident victim, the ones that take the first offer and don't ask questions. But at Hughes & Coleman, our clients are different. They see what's going on and they're not afraid to take action. So which kind are you? Get Hughes & Coleman and get it done.
When the summer heat starts getting to you, call Elite Heating and Air Conditioning, your local factory authorized Carrier dealer. For a limited time, purchase a Carrier air conditioner and receive 0% interest for up to 60 months with payments as low as $35 per month. Free estimates on replacement of your old air conditioner are easy and hassle-free. As a Carrier President's Award winner, turn to the Kentuckiana pros and let us make you comfortable all summer long. Call Elite Heating and Air Conditioning today. We're in your neighborhood.
Menards has everything to transform the look of your home, adding to your curb appeal. Ideal garage doors add a stylish new look to the outside of your home. We have more than 1,000 different style and color options to choose from. Give your home the update it deserves and save with 11% off all Ideal garage doors. Save today and get a 9x7 garage door for $629.99 after 11% rebate right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
When you get Spectrum One, you get fast, reliable internet for $49.99. I mean, I could stop right there, but I won't because, surprise, you find out you're also getting free advanced Wi-Fi with Security Shield, which makes it an even better deal. Until another surprise. You find out you're also getting a free line of unlimited mobile with 5G. Amazing! Surprise again. You also get Speed Boost, which makes your Spectrum mobile speeds even faster when you're connected to Wi-Fi. Surprise, it's me. That's a lot of surprises. I should just popped out of that. Point is, with Spectrum One, you're going to be very surprised by all the free stuff you get. Or you would be if I hadn't already just told you. But still, when you get in there, could you act surprised? A little something for the people in the store.
Get Spectrum One. Internet for just $49.99, plus free advanced Wi-Fi and a free line of unlimited mobile. Visit spectrum.com/surprise, a Spectrum store, or call 844-7-SURPRISE today.
Everything about a big truck crash is serious. At Hughes & Coleman, we give these cases the urgent attention they demand. As soon as you call us, our truck response team can jump into action. So if you've been injured, call the real truck lawyers at Hughes & Coleman.
The WHAS 11 First Alert Storm Team, certified most accurate by WeatherRate.
You hear us say it all the time, but what does it mean? WeatherRate is an independent company that verifies TV weather forecasts. Temperature, precipitation, wind, and cloud cover, it's all monitored by WeatherRate. And for 7 years in a row, WHAS 11 has earned the title of most accurate. It means you can trust our forecast. You can plan your day with confidence, and it means we're the most accurate.
The WHAS 11 First Alert Storm Team, always on your side.
Right now, we are live at the Muhammad Ali Center, where you can see people from the community are starting to arrive right alongside speakers. We are just 30 minutes away from a community-wide vigil that will happen here tonight.
People are coming in from all corners now in downtown. I'm watching them walk in from our platform here overlooking the venue. Of course, the Muhammad Ali Center. An amazing place to hold this. Muhammad Ali wanted people to come together. That was his life's mission. And we talked to the president of the Muhammad Ali Center, Marilyn Jackson, just a little while ago. She told us, Shay, that they can fit about maybe even as much as 7,000 people up here on this venue. And I expect that it will be elbow to elbow by the time 5 o'clock comes in. You will see that completely here on WHAS 11. You know, we've also been talking with long-time law enforcement leaders, including the former U.S. Marshal Rick McCubbin. He joined us on our newscast last night, and LMPD was actually releasing the body camera video that you saw yesterday.
We went to McCubbin today to find out more about exactly what that response was like. He called it textbook, Doug, on our show yesterday. Grace McKenna walking through the video with him today, step by step, to look at LMPD's response.
McCubbin previously called the response from police officers textbook, and that's exactly what he explained to me today, breaking down that body camera video frame by frame and looking at the response from our officers. At 8:41 Monday morning, officers Galloway and Wilt arrive on the scene.
When you hear the shots or you know there are shots, and you know you have to get to those shots, the first thing on your mind is, where can I take cover to safely as I can get to the gunshot?
McCubbin says as they pull up, they don't have a lot of that crucial cover, plus the building is blinding.
You're probably seeing more of your own reflection than what's actually behind that glass. So a no-win situation.
The officers climb the stairs to the building where they're fired on by the shooter. McCubbin saying their attention would turn to finding a safe place to go and to each other.
When you're being shot at, you can't do that. And that's the disheartening thing, that those live rounds kept the other officer from getting over to the wounded officer.
The shooter has an angle.
We hear Galloway say the shooter has an angle, and McCubbin says knowing the attention is on officers, they can buy life-saving seconds.
I'm sure in the back of their heads they know that right now the threat is coming to us. So we have that extra 30 seconds, extra 1 minute.
From the outside steps, he seems to be searching for a target, then fires, taking the shooter down.
I think I got him down. I think he's down.
I asked McCubbin what changed in those moments.
More than likely, it's the shooter that's changing. Perhaps the shooter came closer where he could get an angle.
The whole thing, just minutes.
Textbook, perfect.
That McCubbin believes saved lives, and they're minutes he thinks we should all remember.
They're doing something that nobody wants to do right now, and they did it. Textbook perfect.
In Louisville, Grace McKenna, WHAS 11, on your side.
You have now seen the body cam footage, and just today the 911 calls were released. Doug, we've started listening to those. They really are revealing more details about exactly what was happening in those terrifying moments. We will be breaking them all down and sharing with you what we've learned tonight on the night team.
Another reason, too, they'll be honoring the dispatchers here and those from EMS, and we've been listening to the calls. You're right, Shay. They are heroes themselves. Such calm and cool demeanor, and you'll be hearing those coming up at 11.
We are now just 30 minutes away from this community-wide vigil happening right here at the Muhammad Ali Center.
We are going to be talking with one of the people slated to speak this evening. A longtime Kentucky Senator Gerald Neal will be joining us live. He is one of 13 speakers that will begin at 5 o'clock, as this service will begin at 5, scheduled to end sometime after 6 with the singing of Amazing Grace.
At Rally's, I'm in the driver's seat. Give me that $5 meal deal with a Rally burger. Nah, a mushroom Swiss burger, plus fries, chicken bites, and a drink for just $5. Or why not go big? I want a fried mushroom Buford. Whatever you order, own it at Rally's.
Stanley Steamer cleans carpet, tile, hardwood, upholstery, air ducts, and more. Leaders do things the right way. That's why we use the most powerful trucks and the best trained technicians in the industry. When you need the best quality whole home deep cleaning, call 1-800-STEAMER.
When you hire the skilled union workers of Local 502 and Mechanical Contractors Association of Kentucky, you're getting the best plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and service techs in the industry. Their 5-year apprentice program ensures workers are properly trained, resulting in safety, superior craftsmanship, and reliability. Plants using union tradesmen have fewer line shutdowns and better safety records, saving time and money. Get the job done right the first time by hiring the professionals of Local 502 and the Mechanical Contractors Association of Kentucky.
A conservative fighter, Daniel Cameron. Daniel Cameron conservative? Ask Daniel Cameron.
We want to move to a no-money bail system, no-money bail system.
Sound familiar?
I've laid this out in a detailed memo about not having cash bail.
Cameron agrees with the George Soros-backed DA who prosecuted Trump. That's not conservative. Our governor must never be career politician Daniel Cameron, Kentucky's soft-on-crime teddy bear.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ackerman. Do you suffer with loose dentures? Are you embarrassed to smile because you're missing teeth? Well, I have the solution that will free you from these uncomfortable feelings. Mini dental implants are your affordable solution, and I've been placing them with amazing results. Call Freedom Mini Dental Implants today for a free consultation.
Mini dental implants are less invasive, need less healing time, and are less costly than traditional implants. Call Dr. Ackerman today and let her create that winning smile.
must follow the law. To come to court every single day at 1 o'clock just doesn't work that way. The law is clear.
Mr.
You
Foreman,
must stay proceedings.
Okay, and they have. We're rolling to see if we get an answer. What would you like?
You cannot roll the case. You don't have jurisdiction.
Mr. Foreman, I will get an answer right now, and I'm happy to read more into this.
He'll fight for you with no filter. Want more cash when you get in a crash? TheCarCrashGuy.com.
I've got a 1-year-old. That means I am obsessed with maintaining a clean and healthy home. Clean carpet, area rugs, and air ducts mean a healthy home. I used to trust the other guys. Now I only trust Stanley Steamer. They get out the stuff the other guys can't.
Call 1-800-STEAMER.
And joining us back here live from the Muhammad Ali Center, joining us live is one of the speakers today. He'll be on the dais giving his thoughts. Longtime Kentucky Senator Gerald Neal's been in office for 34 years. He'll be speaking right after the Archbishop today. And we thank you so much for coming in. I know you've been putting your thoughts together. You can bring people together. You've been through a lot of tragedies in this town, but are you also going to put out a call for action?
Yeah, I think I would be remiss if I didn't. I think this is the time. I mean, this is the moment. And the fact of the matter is that this is one iteration of gun violence, but there are many iterations, and they go on every day in one form or another. And I think that it's important for policymakers all the way down to neighborhood residents to understand they all have a role in this. We got to stand up and sustain a very fundamental right we should all have, and that is safety in our neighborhoods and our workplaces. So I think it's important to let everyone understand that this is all of our responsibilities from top to bottom, and we got to get this done. We got to get it right.
Will that call to action be the majority of your speech tonight? Can you give people a look ahead to what you're going to be talking about?
Well, certainly I'm going to express my concern and my thoughts and prayers, of course, always to the families and those directly affected. But, you know, the reality is that this is trauma throughout the community. If you're not experiencing it, I want to know who you are. But I think also it's a moment. I think it's a moment that can actually evolve into something that's useful. And I think we should always seize the moment because that's all we really have, you know?
Senator Neal, you're a longtime Democrat now with a supermajority of Republicans in Frankfort, and you've heard the call for action from your constituents. People are demanding action, no more talk. Do you see any hope of Kentucky in any kind of movement toward any kind of more gun restrictions? You know, Morgan McGarvey lays out a list himself of what he'd like to see.
Well, let me tell you this. I think we need to do more talk, not less talk. I think talk leads to action, but we need to have honest exchange. We need to have transparent exchange. We have to obliterate the lines that divide us and think about this, that we are all neighbors. We're all the neighbors. This is a society. This is not about your camp and my camp. We have a responsibility to each other. That's what a society is about, and we are failing in our responsibility if we don't address it.
You're going to be sitting among the surviving families. When you see them one-on-one, what are you going to say to them?
Well, you know, there's nothing I can really say to give them comfort other than to express it. You can't imagine how that is. You have to live it, and I'm not living it that close, and I'm feeling the trauma where I'm standing. So I'm going to express that with what sincerity I can convey, and I hope it's useful for them, but there's no way I can calculate that. Yeah.
Senator Gerald Neal, thank you very much for your wise look at this, and we'll be listening for you up on the dais here shortly after 5 o'clock.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, again, we have been telling you we do have 13 speakers we are going to be hearing from tonight, starting right here at 5 o'clock. These leaders from all across Kentucky will be speaking on calls to action, remembering the victims, honoring the survivors. And we do have a list for you that's updated right here. It includes Barbara Sexton Smith, she's the deputy mayor, LMPD chaplain, Dr. Teresa O'Bannon, our mayor, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, and of course the governor, Andy Beshear.
Also, 3rd District Congressman Morgan McGarvey will be speaking. Dr. Mohammed Babar, a community leader, he has been moved up to 516 under the governor. And then, in addition, we just learned about at 5:20, Jim Ryan, the president of Old National Bank, will be speaking today. The first we've heard from him in person. The Louisville Archbishop Shelton Fobb, who's been on the job just about a year and a half. Then Senator Gerald Neal will follow the Archbishop. The Metro Council President Marcus Winkler, Rabbi Beth Jakowicz-Chotner, the community leader, the first woman to lead the Temple Shalom on US 42, Whitney Austin, who is from Louisville, and she is a 5-year survivor of the mass shooting at the Fifth Third National Bank in Cincinnati as she arrived to work that day. Also added J. Herbert Nelson from Presbyterian USA, and then they will wrap things up today with singing of Amazing Grace right about 6 o'clock or a little thereafter today.
And still, just about 30 minutes out, we are seeing people trickle in. We are seeing therapy dogs. We are seeing flowers come in, Doug, which is really beautiful.
It is remarkable that they've thought of everybody with the mental health, especially here. And I'm looking, people are coming in through the alleyways. They're up on balconies just behind us, Shay. Again, as this gets closer to 5 o'clock, the crowds are streaming in. And Isaiah Kim Martinez has been following this for us as well.
Isaiah, what are you seeing where you're at?
It's pretty much the biggest influx that we've seen to this point. I just saw over 30, 40 people head to the stairs here as we get closer to 5 o'clock here tonight. I want to draw your attention to the man I'm speaking to right next to me. His name is Naeem. And Naeem, I know that on Monday morning you were crossing the bridge from Jeffersonville, maybe about an hour after all this happened. Describe to me what you were going through, what you were learning that morning.
So it was my regular Monday morning. Since I work in the afternoon, I was walking around doing my exercises. Then I checked the news and I said, wow, that's not right. This shouldn't happen. We are not have to go through this. And I was shocked, I was sad, and I want to do everything I could prevent this stuff from happening, and praying for peace, praying for everything goes smooth for the families and the officers and the other person that's still in hospital. I'm just praying for them for a quick recovery.
Why are you here today, and what would you like to tell the public?
So I'm here to pray. I'm here to say that I'm against any type of crime. I'm against any type of community violence. And I want to make sure we live in peace. Louisville is a great city. Louisville is a peaceful city. We have all type of people living together without any problem. I am Baha'i. And as a part of Baha'i community tonight,
a service.
Yes, we have a service tonight for praying 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. 3808 Bardstown Road. There's a Baha'i center over there, and we are gathering over there for the prayers for the victims and for the others and for the city.
308 Bardstown Road. Thank you so much, Naeem. I really appreciate your time. Doug Shea, we'll send it back to you upstairs.
Isaiah,
thank you very much. And right here on the backside of the Main Street building, Shay, take a look. People are already getting ready for the vigil.
Doug, just like you said, we are seeing people come out of their workplaces, out of their apartments to watch this from the different condos and businesses right here behind Main Street as dozens and dozens get ready for this community vigil.
Louisville is coming together. Again, as we've been saying, the Muhammad Ali Center and this plaza is becoming our sanctuary to come together. The victims, their families will be here in attendance as the service is expected to begin at 5 o'clock. You will see it in its entirety right here in a special edition of WHAS 11 News.
Understaffed public defenders, the cost to the community, Thursday at 6.
Join the ride and celebrate 30 years with the professional bull riders with the PBR Cooper Tires Invitational presented by Kubota, April 29th and 30th at KFC Yum Center. Tickets on sale now at the box office and Ticketmaster.
I got hit in the side right behind the driver's door on my truck, slammed me against the curb and then flipped me. My name is Wesley and I was seriously injured. If I wouldn't have had Carl Truman, I would have been utterly lost. I'll never have another wreck without calling Carl Truman. I don't want another wreck, but I won't do it without him, that's for sure.
The decision to choose a lawyer is so important. How do you know who you can trust? Give us a call and we'll show you.
Okay, places everyone. Absolute Services, introductory TV commercial, 30 seconds, take one. And action.
See, I don't know if 30 seconds is going to be enough.
And cut.
See, here's the thing. I'm the Absolute Services spokesman. I need to talk about our process, step by step, in everything we do. We take whatever time it takes to do a job absolutely the best way we know how.
Yes, but
AC, furnace, plumbing, electrical, garage doors. You can't do a great job if you're rushing around trying to cut corners.
We have 30 seconds.
We need to show people that we take the time to do things absolutely right. And we guarantee our work absolutely.
Well, I can't do all of that in 30 seconds.
Can we try?
Nope.
We take care of your home, absolutely.
Are you and your family in the market for a new fence? Then look no further than EAC Fence. Proudly serving over 29 counties in Kentucky and southern Indiana. We guarantee each customer will receive high-quality workmanship and competitive pricing. Whether you want privacy, protection, or to simply have the best-looking fence in your neighborhood, call EAC Fence today or visit our website.
At Sleep Outfitters, we've been helping our guests find solutions to fit their body and their budget for 40 years. With expert advice, the top brands, guaranteed low prices, and even free delivery and setup. Go to sleepoutfitters.com to find a store near you.
The Oldham County community has been a hugely impacted part of our community because Doug, the officer, he has ties up there too.
It's where he got his start in his young career in law enforcement. Nicholas Wilt, 26 years old, and the students at Wilt's alma mater today, Oldham County High School, they got up early to show the Colonel Nation that they are rallying behind a true hero. WHAS 11's Jim Stratman was there.
School officials say that today was supposed to just be a Wear Blue Day to show support for Officer Wilt, but the students wanted to take it a step further. So they got up early, they decorated signs, and they tried to get the community to show its support for the Oldham County grad.
We like to call it OC Proud.
No matter what year you graduated at OC, we all support Colonel Nation.
Colonel Nation was on full display this morning. The signs, the crowd, the blue, all to show support for a former colonel in his time of need.
So there's definitely community pride here, and in a sense of once a colonel, always a colonel.
Monday, Officer Nicholas Wilt was one of the first responding officers to the Old National Bank shooting. Wilt was shot in the head, and he is still fighting for his life.
It's really special to know that there's a hero, heroes come from OC. We just wanted to stand because he can't, and we wanted to show his, our support.
Matt Steedley is the director of counseling at Oldham County High School. He remembers Wilt roaming the halls of his alma mater.
He was a rule follower. He was active and engaged in both his classwork and extracurricular activities. I think at the time, I don't think he realized he was on his way to being a role model.
For these students, he's more than that.
He was our hero for us.
Officer Wilt continues to be in critical condition following that shooting on Monday. Everyone out here at Oldham County High School said that he continues to be in their thoughts and prayers for a full recovery. Reporting in Oldham County, Jim Stratman, WHAS 11, on your side.
And the LMPD Foundation has set up a fund to help take care of the hospital expenses for Officer Nick Wilt. It has raised over $97,000 so far. In a social media post, LMPD said, Officer Wilt has dedicated his short time here to serving our community, and now is our chance to serve him and take care of his family. You can find a link to donate on LMPD Foundation's Facebook page or on our website, WHAS11.com.
Again, people continue to arrive here at the Muhammad Ali Center as this service is expected to begin at 5 o'clock. It is very warm and sunny, and the sun is reflecting off the glass here at the center. Let's check in with Alden German, who's really been tracking a real warm-up today, Shay.
Hey, Alden. 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 Hey
Good afternoon. Thanks. You're right. It is fairly warm out there. Temperatures near 80 degrees here in the metro right now. It's 82 in Shepherdsville, and tomorrow is going to be even warmer with temperatures that we would typically find in early June, not in early April. So here's a look at Futurecast as we head into the rest of tonight. It's going to be quiet. We'll have a clear sky. We'll wake up tomorrow morning. The temperatures in the 40s for most of us, near 50 here in the metro. We are going to see an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, but I still believe we'll be able to make it into the lower 80s thanks to a south wind. Clouds will continue to increase tomorrow night as we watch for some showers to approach out of the north and expect a couple of just isolated showers for our Friday. Those clouds are going to keep our temperatures down just a little bit. We could have a few rumbles of thunder south of the parkways, but we are not going to be seeing any severe weather. Another chance for some showers and thunderstorms will be arriving beginning late Saturday evening, really more so trending to an overnight Saturday event and early Sunday. Saturday evening at 6 p.m. we're noticing that rain starting to approach from the west. Here comes a very slow cold front. Showers and maybe a few thunderstorms moving in around the sunrise hours on the Sunday morning. Still don't really anticipate any severe weather, but that rain could be getting a little bit heavy at times, and that rain will start to push out of here Sunday afternoon with some much cooler air moving in on the back side of it. Here's a 7-day forecast. Lower 80s tomorrow, but we could easily overachieve here in the metro in particular. Temperatures back off just a tad on a Friday, middle 70s, back to the 80s on Saturday, especially with us being drier. We could even get a little bit warmer, low 60s on Sunday with some of that rain.
Constantly filled the area with.
All right, thank you very much, Alden. And coming up next, we're going to continue our coverage here. We're going to be joined by the former Louisville Mayor Jerry Abramson, who's one of many who's come out here to honor his fellow Louisvillians who were lost in the mass shooting.
We'll be right back after this.
Everything about a big truck crash is serious. At Hughes & Coleman, we give these cases the urgent attention they demand. As soon as you call us, our truck response team can jump into action, gathering evidence, talking to witnesses, getting police reports, and reconstructing the accident in order to build a powerful legal case for you. We're your on-the-scene big truck team. So if you've been injured, call the real truck lawyers at Hughes & Coleman. Truck wreck? Get Hughes & Coleman and get it done. Call 800-800-4600.
Spring is here, and that has a lot of people thinking about home remodeling projects. Well, if your windows are sticking or if they're nearly impossible to open, it might be time to add window replacements to that project list. Hey everybody, I'm with Kirsten from West Shore Home, and today, Kirsten, I want to talk about window remodeling and why this project is so popular this time of year.
So Joe, for people looking to do a window project, they're probably thinking about last summer when their house was hot and uncomfortable, their air conditioning was running all the time, which was driving up their energy bills. Well, to avoid those problems this year, they need to get a jump start on that project.
Well, we've both been on site for a good number of window installations, and we know West Shore's earned a great reputation by only using employee installers. But what's another reason why so many people choose West Shore for their window project?
So Joe, as you know, our company was built to provide a fast, easy, and convenient experience for our customers. And right now, people are loving our installation timelines. If you decide to move forward with your project, our team of expert installers can be back out as early as 4 weeks for your installation.
That's amazing, because a lot of companies might not start that project for 3 or 4 months, and you're saying your team's going to be out to start that project within 4 weeks after the initial purchase?
That's right. If people want to get their brand new energy efficient windows installed before the summer, they need to give us a call right now.
And I understand you have a limited time offer for anyone watching. Tell us about that.
That's right. If you give us a call right now, you'll get 20% off of your entire project. Plus, we have a special financing plan available. It's 12 months of no payments and no interest. That means you can get your entire window project installed and not need to worry about making a single payment until a full year after the installation is complete.
Kirsten, thanks. Folks, call West Shore Home now to speak to a live representative and to receive this limited time offer. West Shore Home is extending this offer for 1 week only. You heard Kirsten. Call in now to get 20% off your window project. And for a limited time, they're doing 12 months of no payments and no interest financing. That means you don't need to pay anything for a full year after the installation. Don't miss this offer. Call West Shore Home now.
Understaffed and overworked public defenders.
We have anywhere from 240 to 300 cases.
Focus investigates the link to violent crime, the cost to the community.
That bar of the Constitution, is it being upheld here?
Thursday on WHAS 11 News at 6.
Good morning, Kentuckiana. Start fresh with the team that's on your side. News you need now. Your certified most accurate forecast and traffic updates to keep your morning moving. Start your day with GMK. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WHAS 11.
And joining us here live right now, we are welcoming former Louisville Mayor Jerry Abramson, who was 21 years in office and, of course, took Louisville through one of the first mass shootings in the country, the Standard Reviewer tragedy. Mr. Mayor, thank you for joining us. The parallels you see today, I mean, back 33 years ago, we didn't ever think we would go through this again.
You know, when I went to to Standard Reviewer that morning, and we were pulling bodies out after they had been just torn apart by assault weapons that were used at that time by Mr. Westbecker, as I remember the name. I mean, you know, it was the first time ever the concept of mass shooting wasn't even in the mindset of people. 30 some odd years later, we're talking about the same things. We're talking about assault weapons. Why are weapons that are used for war being available to be sold on the streets of America? And we're talking about mental health. Mental health. How do we assist and guide these families who have these difficulties and give them a chance to be able to get right with their kids?
And we know you were such a big part of creating the Muhammad Ali Center back then. Could you have imagined that we'd be holding a vigil of this magnitude here now?
You know, I couldn't have fathomed it. I mean, this was supposed to be wonderful space, happy space, enjoyable space, artistic space, and here we are as a community coming together as a vigil to say how sad we are for those we have lost, how hopeful we are for those who are in the hospital. But we got to do something. I mean, we need a little less talk and a little more action.
Before we leave you, you have been known as the mayor for life because of your true love for this community, your always positive look for this community. How do we pull out of this in the next week? What words can you give us of hope and encouragement?
There is no silver bullet. I mean, every person's going to have to get engaged. To bring about change so that these things don't happen again, we have to hold our folks, our elected officials in Washington, we have to hold them accountable. We have to hold the folks in Frankfurt accountable. We have to work with the genuineness and the guidance of our mayor and our governor to try to ultimately bring together a decision-making group of citizens that say, enough, we're not going to accept this any longer.
Thank you, former Mayor Jerry Abramson, for joining us. I know you are going to be watching the service here in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
at tonight's vigil, we are remembering all of the victims of Monday's horrific shooting.
Again, those who will never be forgotten, the 5 victims who died. Joshua Barrick, a 40-year-old senior vice president since August at Old National. He was a parishioner at Holy Trinity Church in St. Matthews. In fact, the Archbishop of Louisville will be speaking here today. Barrick survived by his wife and 2 children. Also, Jim Tutt, a 64-year-old marketing executive with Old National. Tutt was a Frankfurt native and UK grad. He liked to sail his boat with his son Andrew and made his own wine and played drums. And Tommy Elliott, he was 63 years old and a senior vice president at the bank. He was also a close personal friend of Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Also being remembered tonight, Juliana Farmer, 45 years old. She was a commercial banking agent who had just moved to Louisville for this new opportunity to work at Old National Bank just a few weeks ago. Her family tells us she was expecting a 5th grandchild. And finally, Dina Eckert, 57 years old. I have personally spoken with multiple of Dina's close family members, all of them just absolutely heartbroken. The executive administrative officer at Old National Bank, they say she loved her job, she loved her coworkers, and she is being remembered as the absolute rock of her family.
We want to go over the list of speakers, Shay. They have added people and have changed some things. Again, we're 3 minutes from 5 o'clock, but as people are still streaming in here, I do see the chairs next to the mayor's podium are starting to fill up. Also, the family members of the victims have been invited here from 2 different shootings, the mass shooting and then the one that happened 2 hours later at 8th and Chestnut. At 5 o'clock, you will hear the sound of bells from a public address system for the crowd. Deputy Mayor Barbara Sexton Smith will open the ceremonies. And then the LMPD chaplain, Dr. Teresa O'Bannon, followed by Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, then Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and then they have moved the list a little bit. Dr. Mohammed Babar, a community leader, will be speaking. And just added today, Jim Ryan, the president of Old National Bank. He is based in Evansville, Indiana, has come to Louisville, his first comments in public. Congressman Morgan McGarvey, also Archbishop Sheldon Fabb will be speaking, the new Archbishop of Louisville. Kentucky Senator Gerald Neal, who's been in office 34 years. The Metro Council President, Marcus Winkler. Then Rabbi Beth Jackowitz-Chotner. She leads Temple Shalom in Louisville on US 42, the first woman to lead the longtime Temple Shalom. Then Whitney Austin of Louisville. She is a mass shooting survivor from the Fifth Third National Bank in Cincinnati. And added today, J. Herbert Nelson with Presbyterian USA. We will close this ceremony singing Amazing Grace sometime after 6 o'clock on this day where the weather has cooperated, Shay.
And Doug, I've been watching as we've just seen Mayor Craig Greenberg come in. I can see Morgan McGarvey handing out hugs down there. I have seen a few tears already as people are embracing. Some may be seeing each other just for the first time here. And you can see those seats specifically reserved for family members are starting to fill.
Yes, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has arrived. Again, the seats filling up will be a mix of the people who are speaking, honoring also our emergency services workers, LMPD, and of course, direct messages to the survivors of the victims. And the service is expected to begin right after this. Stay with WHAS 11.
Listening to those, they're not ready to go.
Okay, we are staying with you here because the service is getting ready to start, and it is taking just a little bit of time to fill in. And we can show you our different videos from our live cameras. We have photographers and reporters all over the scene. We want to let you know that we are seeing people still streaming in, and Shay, they're coming in from all walks of life. This is an interfaith service. They want to have a message for everybody affected by this.
And as we can see people walking in, we're seeing families, we're seeing children, we're also seeing activist groups. Mothers Demand Action are all down right in the front row wearing their t-shirts. Also, Governor Andy Beshear is here talking to the different families, talking to the different community members who have made it here this afternoon.
If you are just joining us here live on WHAS 11, we are expecting the Community Vigil will begin any minute as Louisville comes together to remember what happened just 2 days ago. At 8:38 in the morning, Louisville Metro Police first got that call, and then all of our lives changed forever in this community as we are now starting the service with the ringing of the bells.
Doug, some things to note here. There is a heavy LMPD presence. There are a lot of officers here. We're also seeing security all around the premises and a lot of media, national media, local media. This is well attended this afternoon.
We did get some good news, Shay, while we were on the air, that another person had been released from the hospital. Those being injured, more people have been released. And also, they released the 911 calls today, and that's important to note. We will be running those calls at 11, but because the dispatchers handled things so well, so calm, and they got police there in such record time. Again, more of the service beginning now.
Doug, as we expected, the seats are completely full. It is standing room only now here at the Muhammad Ali Center, right in the amphitheater area. So are the seats reserved for speakers and family. No more open seats here.
If you can see the amphitheater as it comes up from the plaza, a line of blue. Metro Police coming out strong for this vigil here. And that we have been watching people embrace them, shake their hands, thank them for their incredible bravery. Again, the entire incident lasting 9 minutes from the minute they got the call to when the shooter was killed.
Another really beautiful sight here, Doug, is the therapy dogs, the flowers, lots of things to soften the mood, to help people heal. And that is the point of tonight, is to help the community heal together.
Right now, people are still coming in. I do think you have a few hundred people here on the plaza now. As we were interviewing the new CEO of the Muhammad Ali Center earlier, she told us at one point it has held as many as 7,000, which is quite the figure here. As Barbara Sexton Smith's now going to the podium, let's watch the service together as Louisville mourns and comes together.
Good evening. Welcome to the Muhammad Ali Center Plaza for a time to reflect and remember. It's a community vigil. I am Barbara Sexton Smith, Deputy Mayor of Louisville, and I'm joined by many of our colleagues representing the city and many friends and neighbors and loved ones. Please get to know someone this evening that you've not met before, and remember the bells tolled, because no one is an island unto themselves. Each is a part of the main. Everyone's death diminishes me. So do not sin to ask, for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Our program this evening will have 13 speakers. They have each been asked to bring 3 minutes of remarks. We will be closed out this evening at 6 o'clock, led by a unison singing of the crowd and the world in Amazing Grace. Jason Claiborne will lead that ending program. But to start us in prayer is Dr. Teresa O'Bannon, chaplain for LMPD. Following Dr. O'Bannon, you will hear from Mayor Greenberg and then Governor Andy Beshear.
Let us pray. Lord God, we are feeling many emotions: shock, confusion, grief, despair, and yes, even anger. And as we are in the aftermath of yet another senseless act of violence, this time in our own hometown, Lord, we lean and depend on you. We are hurting and our hearts are heavy. Lord, we depend on you. Lord, we depend on you right now as we remember those who lost their lives on Monday. Right now, we remember Joshua Barrick. We remember Deanna Eckert. We remember Tommy Elliott. We remember Juliana Farmer. We remember Jim Tutt. And we remember Siobhan Moore. We pray for their families. We pray for their co-workers and all who knew and loved them. God, comfort each one as only you can. Give them the peace that surpasses all understanding now and in the days that lie ahead. We lift up Officer Nick Wilt to you, Lord. Minister to him, and his body is fighting to recover. Touch him with your healing hand. We pray for your healing and restoring power. Do its work in him and all those who were injured and traumatized. Be with the doctors and caregivers. Give them wisdom and knowledge to treat each one as you heal each one. God, your word says, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down his or her life for a friend, to put others' needs before their own. Lord, we are thankful for our first responders and their courage to put it all on the line and to run into danger to keep us safe. Thank you, Lord, for the outpouring of love and support from near and far, showing to the families of those lost, to those injured and their families, to LMPD and to our city. Let us remember to love one another just as you have loved us, and to put on love, which is the perfect bond of unity. Lord, bless our community, bless each one gathered here. Help teach us to love one another, not just today, but every day, regardless of our differences. Teach us to seek and help when we need help. Teach us to choose life over taking life. God, most of all, teach us when faced with evil and hatred to choose love, because right now 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. It's in your name that we do pray, and everyone say together, amen.
Thank you, Dr. O'Bannon, for reading those names. Whether you knew some of these wonderful people who were killed on Monday or not, we come together this evening to acknowledge that every violent death is tragic. However it happens, whenever it happens, to whomever it happens. When we are talking about the lives lost to violence, there is no hierarchy of grief. There's only the shocking reality that someone who is here is suddenly gone. And feelings of grief, confusion, anger, fear, and the sense of loss and vulnerability. We are also here to support the victims who survived, whose lives have been impacted by physical and mental wounds that will take time to heal. We are all in pain right now. I know how you feel. My team knows how you feel. I know everyone I've spoken to since Monday is sharing some version of this same experience. And too many people have had this experience before this week. Because just this week, just this year, we've lost 40 people in our city to gun violence. 40 people in just over 100 days. Part of our purpose today is to acknowledge all of them and the people mourning and missing each of them. We have many wise and wonderful speakers today who will give their perspective on that process, because it's important that we take time to acknowledge those losses and what they mean for us as people and as a community. We have to do that so that later we can gather our energies and focus on preventing these tragedies. There will be a time to act, to take steps in honor of those we've lost, and to channel our grief and pain into meaningful action. That day is coming. Today is to mourn, to lean on each other and support each other. This is a time to ask each other, how are you doing? What do you need? And to really listen and really respond. To answer honestly when someone asks you those questions. We were not meant to go through tough times alone. And luckily, we don't have to. We've seen that this week as well. In the darkness of this week, I am so grateful to the people who have brought light and love, hope and compassion. I'm talking about the police officers who risked their lives to save others, the medical teams who save lives on the scene and in the hospital, the Metro 911 call takers and dispatchers who helped get our first responders on the scene fast enough to save lives. And a special thanks to the social workers, counselors, faith leaders, teachers, and others who have provided comfort and guidance to people in need throughout all of this. Thank you all. And to those who care for others, please take care of yourselves as well. We are here for you, too. We have to all be here for each other, all of us. So to everyone, thank you for coming. Let's continue to lean on and support each other in this moment of mourning and remembering, and in all of our days ahead. Thank you all very much. Governor Beshear.
Tommy, Josh, Juliana, Jim, Deanna, fathers, mothers, grandparents, children, friends, each one a child of God. These are irreplaceable Kentuckians taken far too soon by a senseless act of violence that is certainly making me feel heartbroken, and I think all of us torn. Acts like this tear at the very fabric of humanity, of who we are, and certainly of who we want to be. It's in situations like this that we ask, how? How do we possibly move through this? Well, I think the answer we've learned these last several years is together. We are one Commonwealth, united with Louisville and the families impacted on Monday. Let's love them with every single bit of our hearts today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and in the decades to come. And let's give thanks to our heroes across the city. I lost one of my best friends on Monday, but I've got 2 friends and more that survived because LMPD got there in about 3 minutes. I want to thank you all. By now, if you can, and I struggle, you maybe watched that body cam footage that shows these heroes rushing directly in without pause, without regards to their own safety because they knew lives were on the line. Heroes like LMPD officer Nicholas Wilt, who's fighting for his very life for doing the right thing. And officers like CJ Galloway, who, after being hit himself, stayed until the entire scene was secured. They did that for us, for our friends, for people we care about, and for our loved ones. I give them thanks, personally, for their selflessness, for their bravery, and I pray, and I hope everybody else joins me praying for Officer Wilt's healing. We thank our first responders and law enforcement agencies, EMS, Emergency Management, Louisville Fire, the Kentucky State Police, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, Louisville Field Division, and the FBI for their support. Just stopping that gunman was the first battle. I want to thank all our healthcare heroes at U of L Health that have done their very best to keep people alive. Dr. Jason Smith and I have been friends for a while. We battled COVID together, and I know his people are trying the very best for Officer Wilt. They tried their very best for Deanna, and because of their work, there are people alive here and our EMTs and so many others. To anybody who risked themselves, who provided that medical attention right there, that rushed to the aid of a friend, that helped somebody get out, we are so grateful. God bless you. What we need right now, in one word, is love. In a world where we hear a lot of arguments, a lot of anger, where people try to appeal to hatred and division, how about just love? Love for one another, love for even those we disagree with, answering words of anger with words of love. One responsibility that I know I have is to focus and lift up my friend Tommy and his family, and the families and loved ones of Josh, Juliana, Jim, Deanna. Love, compassion, humility, empathy. They've got to be able to lead us to a better place. While my faith is tested, and it may be even shaken, I do believe. And I still believe. I believe in a loving God that one day will explain to me how this can happen. And I believe in heaven, which means that while the body is mortal, the soul is eternal. And Tommy, I will see you again, and we will see all of these incredible individuals again. And I was asked earlier today what I'd learned, and it's a hard question right now. I admit that while I'm not angry, I'm empty. And I'm sad. And I just keep thinking that maybe we'll wake up. What I know is I just wish I'd taken an extra moment, made an extra call, told him how much I cared about him. And I know we are all feeling the same, but I also know that they hear us now and that they feel our love. So when you go home from here, hug your families, call your friends, tell them how much you care about them. Because one thing that I know that we can do is we can live for the fallen, and we can live better for them. We can be better. We can be better family members, better dads, better moms. We can be better community members, and we can be better people. Let's commit that to them. God bless. Thank you all very much.
The next three voices that you will hear will be that of Dr. Mohammed Barber, a community leader, followed by Jim Ryan, the CEO of Old National Bank, and then thirdly, followed by Congressman Morgan McGarvey. Dr. Mohammed Barber.
Dear brothers and sisters, as a physician, I deal death on almost daily basis. Quite frequently, I have to console families after the loss of their loved ones. I try to relate their loss sometimes as a natural progression of human life journey and sometimes just a will of good Lord. But today, standing next to the sacred space belonging to the most articulate, compassionate, and beloved son of Louisville, Muhammad Ali, I am having tough time to find words to console the victims, the survivors, and the loved ones of this senseless act of violence. Like you all, I'm really fatigued and frustrated on this non-stop vicious cycle of deadly shootings in our nation. Like you all, I'm dead tired of posting hollow words and prayers on the social media after each incident of mass shooting. Therefore, today I just want to plead you all and the leaders of our great nation that it does not matter whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, whether you live in urban spaces or rural communities, whether you own a gun or not, please do something, because we all just want this epidemic of death to end, which is wearing down our nation. I know that we all bleed red. I know that we all want our children to be safe in their schools. I know that we all want our loved ones to return home every evening for supper. So when we share same aspirations and hopes, then why we cannot agree on finding solutions to curb this endless cycle of violence? And before we finally decide to do something, what it's going to take, how many more innocent children have to die? How many more fathers like our own Josh Barrick have to make next journey without being there for his young two children to see them grow up? How many grandparents like Juliana Farmer have to pass away before seeing their unborn grandchild? How many more good citizens like Jim Turt, Deanna Ackard, and my beloved friend Tommy Elliott have to depart this world without saying goodbye to their loved ones and leaving them behind in this madness with unanswered questions? And how many more parents like Todd and Lisa Sturgeon need to mourn and live while carrying a burden of regrets on their human hearts? How many more first responders like Officer Nicholas Wilt have to pay price for our collective sin of inaction. Brothers and sisters, I understand mass shootings are a complex issue which needs a multi-pronged approach. But while we Americans have conquered space and improved human lives with our mind-boggling medical and scientific innovations, then why we can't find a solution to this cancer of mass shootings, which is eating away our children, adults, and seniors at a lightning speed? So tonight, I am begging to our whole nation to do something. I am begging to Presidents Biden and Trump, Senators McConnell and Schumer, Speaker Osborne, President Stivers, Governor Beshear, and whoever is listening out there in this universe to do something, as we cannot continue this business as usual. Living in fear is not a life that our children and their children deserve. So please, please, please do something. Thank you.
Good evening. I can't tell you how important and appreciated your support is right now. There are no adequate words to describe what happened Monday morning. There are no adequate words to describe the pain the victims' families are feeling right now. There are no adequate words to describe the heartbreak our Old National family is feeling. A number of our team members are here tonight, and many others are with us live stream across our footprint. To all of you, please know that we will get through this together. We are here to remember and celebrate the lives of 5 members of the Old National family and to wrap our arms around and grieve with all of those who loved and cared for them. Josh Barrick, Deanna Eckert, Tommy Elliott, Juliana Farmer, Jim Tutt. Make no mistake, these were extraordinary people. They were loving, generous, and gifted. They poured themselves out every day in service of others. We have come together to celebrate their lives and also say to their family members, we are here for you today and into the future. We are also here to pray for and support all of those who are injured. This includes the 2 Louisville Metro police officers who risked their lives to save others, and it also includes other members of our Old National family. To the families of these and friends of these individuals, please know we are here to pray with you and for you and to support you in any way. I also want to share that we have been overwhelmed with the outpouring of love, care, and support from individuals and organizations across the country. To each and every one of you, thank you. On behalf of everyone at Old National, I also want to acknowledge and thank those who have come to the aid of our ONB family over the past 3 days. This includes the Louisville Metro Police Department and the brave and heroic officers who are at the scene in minutes. I also want to acknowledge the great work of the FBI. Secondly, I want to thank the entire Louisville medical community, especially those first responders and the staff at the University Louisville Health. You truly are heroes. Thank you, Mayor Greenberg. Your team has been fantastic. Thank you, Governor Beshear. The same, your team and outreach has been absolutely incredible to each and every one of us. I also want to thank the Red Cross for all that you do, and thank you for those that have given the gift of life. If you're looking for a way to honor those victims in this tragedy, giving blood is a great option. Finally, I want to express my gratitude on behalf of all of us at Old National to the entire Louisville community, especially those religious and mental health community leaders. We couldn't do it without you. Words cannot express the passion and generous support that you've given us. And if I can offer one closing thought, it's this: the greatest way we can continue to honor everyone who has been impacted by this tragedy is do our best to follow their example. We need to love one another. We need to care for one another. And we need to support one another. Thank you.
This is hard. It's just really hard. I don't know when I got to sleep last night. I just know that when I woke up, I didn't know what day it was. Because this is our city. This is our home. This is our village. It's our Louisville village. A wonderfully close-knit community where we truly know everybody. Where when I was in the operating room today with the brave doctors and nurses, they talked about knowing the people they were trying to save. You are 1 degree of separation from everybody in this town. We ask you what school you went to, we all know we mean high school. That closeness makes this hard. It makes it hurt. And in the fog of our grief here together, the only comfort is that closeness will be the fabric we weave together to stay strong. 5 innocent lives were taken Monday at Old National Bank. Deanna Eckert, her daughter told me that she and her brother always knew they were loved. Her mom was the kindest person they'd ever met, and she positively impacted every single person she touched. Josh Barrick, just a few years younger than I am, a Louisville kid. His wife Jessica told me that he is the center of their family. He leaves behind his wife and 2 small elementary school children who have to deal with this tragedy. We will be there for them. Jim Tutt, a husband, a father, a grandfather, a community leader, someone who was so proud of his entire family and who they were proud of as well. Juliana Farmer, her mom, Miss Bard, is here with us tonight. Miss Bard was quick to tell me her daughter was kind, she was intelligent, she raised her kids on her own. She was recruited to come back here just a few weeks ago to work at Old National Bank again because they wanted her. She had a pure heart. She cared. Her mom, a Christian woman, said, "I know my child died happy." The first part of that sentence is something no parent should ever have to say. And I remember my friend Tommy Elliott, someone I've known for a long time, a guy who loved life. A guy, because Louisville is the small town we know it to be, my wife worked with his wife. A guy who was a friend because, you know what? As much as he liked to mix it up, if Tommy told you he was for you and he meant it. We're going to miss Tommy. I've got to mention a few words about Officer Wilt, who bravely ran into the line of fire. I met with his family yesterday in the hospital. He is still in intensive care. His mom had just seen the body camera footage, and she said, "I was looking at his hands to see if he was scared. They never shook. And that's my child. Whenever anybody was in trouble, he ran to help them. We're also praying for Siobhan Moore, a young man who tragically died minutes later in a separate part of town, a 24-year-old taken from us too soon. This is hard. It's going to be hard. We are hurting, and we're gonna hurt for a while. And as hard as it is to read the names of the 6 people we lost Monday, we would have lost more if it weren't for the brave actions of Officer Wilt, Officer Galloway, the Louisville Metro Police Department, all of the first responders, the doctors, the nurses, the caretakers, the state and local leaders who helped make sure that more lives weren't lost that day. Thank you. You saved lives. Louisville, this is hard. We are bent, but we are not broken. We are strong. We will get through this together. We will hold each other up. We will remember and honor the lives of those lost for years to come.
The next 3 voices of reflect and remembrance you're going to hear from will be our Archbishop Shelton Favre of the Archbishop of Louisville. Then we will be hearing from Senator Gerald Neal, whose district we have gathered in this evening from the Kentucky State Senate. And the third voice at this time will be from Marcus Winkler, Councilman, President of the Louisville Metro Council. Archbishop.
My dear friends in Christ, I invite you just to listen for one moment. And what you hear is the language of grief and suffering. A language that we do not like, but a language that in so many ways imposes itself upon us. It's a language without words, but its presence is known. The language of grief and suffering. A language that is screaming right now in the lives of those who lost loved ones. A language that is screaming right now in our beloved city of Louisville. A language that we are all hearing. And a language that comes at us with the lie that there is no hope and that you face all of this alone. Hear the language of grief and suffering. But do not give in to the language of grief and suffering, because born of that is the language of hope and promise. Born of that is the language that drives us to learn lessons and to make differences and to love as we are called to love. The language of grief and suffering will be around for a while. But very soon, because of our care for one another, because of who we are and what we believe in, and what we do when we come together to solve problems, may the language of hope be born amongst us, a response to that which we hear now, a language of hope that will silence the language of grief and the language of suffering. A language spoken by the one who journeys through this with us, the living and true God, who walks with us and strengthens us and, yes, comforts us at this time. And he whispers to us the beginnings of that language of hope. As we continue to hear the language of grief and suffering, as it yells at us right now, may we not give in to its deception that there is no hope and that there is nothing that we can do. Let us hold on and hold on together until the language of hope is born amongst us. And that language speaks loudly in our lives, in our communities, and in our hearts. Amen.
I want to thank our governor, our mayor, our congressman, all the leaders that have served us well, our community leaders, my dedicated colleagues in the General Assembly, our spiritual leaders. I also want to thank our Louisville community and the millions of people across the state and the nation who are standing with us at this moment of shock and grief, who are sending their words of love and support, who are helping our community bear this terrible burden in our hearts. The events on Monday were truly a shock to the conscience and to the soul of this city. And as we reflect on these horrific acts, I want all of the families and friends of those we lost, along with all the survivors, to know that our nation is with you. Our hearts are aching with yours. You are not alone. These sorts of senseless acts have and, heaven forbid, will take place across our nation. It includes mass shootings, single acts of vengeance, to guns that are not safely secured. This is a wide-ranging reality. Gun violence comes in many forms. I shut my eyes and ask myself, why haven't we done more? Why haven't we done more? This makes no sense. The truth is, these events are foreseeable. As painful and shocking as the news was on Monday morning, tragically, it wasn't out of the ordinary. And the lesson I glean, the perspective I find, is that it is time for all of us to do more. Yes, we must pray. Yes, we must reflect. But yes, we must act. I'm certain it's possible because we are all suffering together. We have come together. We all know things must change. We must turn this moment of sadness into a resolve for concrete action. So let's start from the common ground, that common space of grief and humanity. And let's be deliberate about coming together and protecting the safety of our community from this plague of gun violence that is gripping our country, our children, our schools, our homes, our workplaces, our churches. Are we so entrenched in politics and ideology that we can't take a stand to protect those places? Those people we care about most? I know we can do this because we've done it before. And I know there is a desire to find solutions on all sides of this issue. There can be no division on the issue of safety. We call for everyone of goodwill, from policymakers to neighborhood residents, to have open, honest, and serious, sustained discussions with a commitment to take effective action. To do less is unacceptable. Make no mistake, this is the time to act. This is a time to come together with something decisive and significant. And I hope and pray that everyone will join us in that effort. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of my colleagues on Metro Council, many of whom are with us this evening, I want to thank you all for coming tonight to remember those that we lost and to begin the path towards healing. As I prepared to speak tonight, I struggled to come up with what to say. What words can one offer in such a tragedy? Like many of you, I've struggled to process the events that occurred on Monday and the many others who've been lost in our city over the last few years. I've struggled to make sense of how something like this can happen here in Louisville. And mostly I've struggled with the senselessness of it all and how to comprehend the grief of those that knew and loved our fellow citizens whose lives were cut tragically short on Monday. We lost 6 beloved members of our community: Tommy Elliott, Josh Barrick, Jim Tutt, Juliana Farmer, Deanna Eckert, Siobhan Moore. These were mothers, daughters, sisters, fathers, and sons. They were friends. They leave behind legacies of all of those that they have touched in our world. Long after our words here today are forgotten, the memory of those who were lost will remain. And while we rightly remember and honor them, we must also remember that others, like Officer Nick Wilt, are fighting for their lives. And still others will live with the physical and psychological scars for the rest of their lives. How can we help the friends and family of those we lost? How can we help those who were impacted with their struggle? How do we help each other process the events of this week? I think the answer to these questions is together. Humans have a fundamental need for connectedness. We seek comfort in each other. We find joy in each other. We look out for each other. And as we saw with the heroic first responders who showed us on Monday, that sometimes we're willing to risk our lives for each other. As I look at the memorial, at the bank, or the faces of those who are here tonight, I know that we will get through this together as well. The simple fact is that tragedy doesn't know color, religion, political party, income, or geography. It is times like this that remind us that we are all connected and are so much more alike than we are different. While I'm incredibly sad today, I'm also hopeful. Hopeful that we will help each other get through this together. Hopeful that we will lift up the family and friends of those who were impacted Monday, and hopeful that we can end these senseless acts of violence together. May God bless and keep the victims and all of those who knew and loved them. Thank you.
As we reflect and remember together, gathered here this evening, the next 3 voices that you will hear will first be that of Rabbi Beth, followed by then Whitney Austin. And this world came to know Whitney a number of years ago. You will recognize her immediately as the brave woman who is a survivor of a mass shooting in a financial institution in Cincinnati. And the third name that you will hear will be from J. Herbert Nelson, the stated clerk of the Presbyterian USA. Rabbi Beth?
Shalom. We are here to mourn and grieve the loss of loved ones whose lives were cut short by a senseless act of murder. There is no explanation that will lessen the pain and grief that family members and friends feel at this moment. Our hearts ache for you, and we pray that our outpouring of love and support for you will bring a measure of comfort to your broken hearts. Our prayers are with you. We also send prayers of healing of body, mind, and spirit to those who survived the shooting, and especially to Officer Wilt, who is struggling to survive. We pray that all of you, your families, and your loved ones will feel embraced by the love and prayers we are sending to you too. To the first responders and the medical teams, thank you for your expertise and tireless efforts. We owe you a debt of gratitude. As we come together as a city and as a country that has had enough of senseless gun violence, may all of us commit ourselves right here, right now, to double and redouble our efforts to use our voices, our voting power, and our right to protest peacefully, to join together as children of one God, to take meaningful and necessary steps to ban assault weapons that were created only for battlefields. May we work together to hasten the day when we will beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks and study war no more. As we pray for healing and shalom, peace, let us remember that we must also take action if we are to bring about the end of violence and to achieve the peace that we so desperately desire. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru, amen. May the one who makes peace in heaven strengthen us and give us the stamina, hope, and courage to continue to work for peace here on earth. And let us say together, amen.
Congressman McGarvey is right. This is really difficult. My name is Whitney Austin, and Monday morning was heartbreakingly familiar to me. I've done this before. On September 6, 2018, I experienced a very similar event. I was shot 12 times in a mass shooting at Fifth Third Bank's corporate headquarters in Cincinnati, Ohio. I want to make it very clear, this moment is not about me. It is about what happened on Monday, April 10th, 2023, the date that will be seared in the memory of every Louisvillian for the rest of our lives. More importantly, this moment is about the victims, the survivors, the heroic LMPD officers and first responders, and the highly skilled and compassionate medical team at U of L. I am so thankful that we have gathered in this moment to lift all of them up in prayer. They need it. I am the strong and hopeful woman you see here in front of you because of the support I received after my shooting. From Fifth Third Bank to the city of Cincinnati, to strangers, to my church community, to the school community for my children, to my family and friends, I was wrapped in love. Every person touched by gun violence, and that includes those shootings that have nothing to do with mass violence. Deserve to be lifted up in the way that I was lifted up. So to this audience, I encourage every single one of you to do the same for these families. And please don't forget about them next week. Don't forget about them next month. And don't forget about them next year. They are going to need your support for the rest of their lives. Now to hope. I always want to talk about hope. I know it feels very difficult to find hope in these moments. I personally have cried over more victims of gun violence than I can list. And through my organization, Whitney Strong, we have pushed ourselves to the brink to affect change through education, through research, through bipartisan-led legislation. And still, it wasn't enough to stop this. When you feel broken and defeated, like we all do now, this is the most important moment for you to find hope. Because it is only through hope that you can find the strength to take action, and it is only through action that change will ever come. And I want you to remember that change already has come. Last June, after weeks of advocacy in the Capitol, my family and I and our team sat in the U.S. Senate gallery and watched as our senior senator, Mitch McConnell, worked with Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, Republican Senator John Cornyn, and 62 others to pass the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. We made history on that day, and we will do it again. And we will all look back on this moment, and we will know that what happened on April 10th, 2023 mattered. Thank you.
We give thanks to God in so many different ways for the tremendous work that has been given in us to be able in times like these to be resistant, be resilient, to be able in many ways to carry ourselves in a way that still represents what the one who gives us life, health, and strength every day allows us to. For the families and the loss that individuals are facing in this time, we must, in many ways, acknowledge that what we are dealing with today is seriously etched in the DNA of such in this day of our nation. It will take a lot of hard work to begin to stand and to believe over and over again that the God of salvation reminds us that we are called to love one another, to embrace the otherness of the other, and to believe on all things that somehow or another, no matter what goes on in our lives, there is a God who never fails or forsakes or will leave us alone. And so we stand on the truth that we are all here today all here because of an amazing Creator who gave us another day of life. The question as we leave this place and we come to this place of turning a corner is, what do we do now? How much of ourselves do we give? How do we open our hearts and our minds to the otherness of the other, those who are struggling in life, who don't look like us, who don't act like us, who may not have what we have, and who find themselves struggling on the ground each and every day just to make it to the next hour. You see, this is the fulfillment, I believe, that comes in a moment just like this. It happens because it reminds us all of our vulnerability, of our own inner spirit that we have to have day by day, even through the tragedies of life. And if that is not enough, to be reminded over and over again that our mortal spirits that we have to give the greatest opportunities to leaning in to that which we believe can actually emancipate us and make us better, so that we could live lives in peace and ultimately know that we are being watched over by one that is greater than ourselves. We must leave this place with a real sense of what it means to hold on to the hand of one who knows us best, and to walk by faith and not by sight. But even more than that, to stop all of the wars that we have on our cities, in our towns, in our homes, and in other parts of our lives. We hear these words that I oftentimes lean on the scriptures in faith. Love the Lord your God with all your hope, all your help, all your mind, all your spirit, and love your neighbor. Whoever God has created is your neighbor. We walk with them and talk with them because we know it is a mandate to love. The acts we face in these few days have not been acts of love. But I know that this city is better than this. That's why you're here. I know that this city has a strong grounding of bouncing back. That's why you're here. And I know that the family who mourns this day has a spirit to continue to walk by faith and not by sight, knowing that even in the midst of this time, our God, our Creator, is always with us even now. Keep your heads up and be reminded always you don't walk alone. And if you ever think you do, look at this gathering here today of people who came to you to share their love and to believe that this place can be changed. God bless you.
We're at the top of the hour of reflection and remembrance, and Jason Claiborne and I have closing comments to make. So all week long, a number of people have called and texted and asked, what can I do? What can I do? Everybody's looking for a call to action. Well, we have a number of things each of you can think about doing to get your thoughts thinking, to mobilize what you're feeling in your heart and what's on your soul. So one action step many of you have already taken this evening is you found the remembrance cards. We have available strength and prayer cards that are small index cards, and we have ink pens if you would choose to write a message, a prayer of strength. Our team in the mayor's office will collect these. There are boxes for those, and we will make sure they are distributed to the families and the victims. Something else you may do that you've heard mentioned and asked for already once this evening is donate the gift of life, donate blood to the American Red Cross. You can call or go online and make an appointment. 170 pints of blood was reported used on Monday by our doctors and nurses in attendance at U of L Hospital. And then you're asking, may we sing together? Yes, we can. We're going to do this. And the nationally renowned vocalist, composer, and leader and faith man is Jason Claiborne, who's going to lead us all singing in unison, Amazing Grace. Once the melodious sounds settle down, we will ask you to stay and visit if you choose to, or many of you will be off to one of 17 locations around the city where there are simultaneous small vigils happening in interfaith communities throughout the county. And there will be worship services and prayer vigils from 6:30 to 8:30 at those locations. You can find their addresses on the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods website. Then, call to action. At 7 p.m. this evening, during those simultaneous vigils across the city, there will be bells ringing. They will be bells from institutions, organizations. There will be church bells. There will be handbells. There will be singing bowls. We have received calls from all over the country and some off continent of people who want to ring bells when it is 7 o'clock in Louisville, Kentucky on April 12th. The bells will ring for 1 minute. Please join. Jason?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. This grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.